Hi. So today we're going to talk about something that's a core part of almost every single thrift store operator's systems and processes, and that's the color coding or color rotation system. When you know how that works, you're going to have a distinct advantage over the many other resellers that are trolling those same aisles. So the color system has two basic purposes. One, for donated goods, is to keep track of how long things have been on the sales floor so the sales floor doesn't get stale. And then number two is for specialty categories. Our focus is going to be on how the color rotation system works and then how you can use that to your advantage. Keep in mind that stores with the same name on the building may not use the same rotation or the same colors. If you're going to Goodwill in one community, don't assume the color rotation and rotation system is the same at the Goodwill in another location. And their policies and procedures can vary greatly as well. So, for example, if red is the current color that's going out to the sales floor, it's easy to tell because that's what's on the carts. That's what's being put out this week. And let's say green was the week before, blue was the week before that, and then pink is the oldest color that's intentionally being sold on the floor. And then there'll be another color that's the pull color, and we'll call it black for sake of this illustration. And that was the discounted color last week. It's just being pulled from the floor this week. So any black in our example here isn't discounted generally. It's just there until they get around to pull it off the sales floor. And then generally there's a dead color, and we'll call the dead color here yellow. So that should have been, it's been through a whole cycle. It's been pulled from the floor, and there shouldn't be any yellow on the floor. So they'll rotate through like that. And then the dead color this week, for example, will be the current color, the new color the next week. So yellow will pop up to the current color, red goes down to the previous week's color, and ding, ding, ding down the line. So then blue in our example will become the discounted color. So it kind of follows it, and it just recycles, and recycles. And they do that to make sure that there's fresh goods on the floor. Because if you're a regular thrift store shopper, you know the worst thing in the world is to see the same stuff forever. Actually took over a store like that where they never pulled anything, production was terrible, and we just got production going and we cleaned up the floor and got into that rotation, and sales went up like you wouldn't believe. So the customer's looking for fresh stuff. You're looking for fresh stuff. Well, here's a dirty little secret in thrift retail and textiles and soft goods. Only half of whatever goes to the floor actually sells, and that varies quite a bit. There are some stores that only have a 30% sell-through. A very small percentage may have a 60 or 70% sell-through. But if a store is doing half, selling half of what goes to the floor, they're doing pretty well. So if 1,000 pieces go to the floor, only 500 are ever going to sell. And that 500 that gets pulled from the floor doesn't get thrown away. It gets sold either in a bin store or is sold bulk on the international market, which is something that maybe I'll talk about in a separate video. So inside that 1,000 pieces, the 500 are going to sell. The first week, about half of what's going to sell sells. So that 1,000 on the floor, 250 or so are going to sell that first week. The good stuff, basically, people find quickly, identify, and are going to sell. So when you see things with the current color, you want to grab it because it may not be here, may not be there. The second week, that goes down to about half again, maybe 125 items. So it's a pretty deep progression like that. Partly because thrift shoppers tend to be very regular shoppers. They're in the stores a lot. Once they see something one time, they've made their decision about it. And then, of course, that leaves out 500 items, like I mentioned, they're going to be pulled and sold in other places. But do know that very, 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 very few thrift stores throw those clothes away if they've been to the sales floor. And the half that didn't go to the sales floor also doesn't get thrown away unless it's just dirty and nasty and you wouldn't believe what people donate sometimes. The fresh stuff is the best stuff, so you really want to pay attention to that. But the stuff in those middle weeks, you can still find really great resale items in there in specialized goods or out-of-market goods or out-of-season goods. So that men's dress shirt with 36, 37-inch sleeve, the chances of the person coming in that wants that particular shirt might be pretty low, but selling online, that might be a great item that could command a premium. Or a San Diego Padres jersey in Pennsylvania not much of a market for it there, but online, that could be a really great item. And then out-of-season goods that have been put on the sales floor, because it comes in all year. So all of the seasons come in all year. Winter coats show up in July. Leather coats, my personal favorite, show up all year, and they'll put some of those on their sales floor. And the tendency is, with those out-of-season goods that they keep a little department of, it's really the best of the best. And I've been banned at my house from bringing any more leather coats home unless I get rid of one. So they're a great item. And if you can store those things for a few months as a reseller, you can often make really, really good money because you've got a great item and it might be priced a little bit lower than it would in season. Kind of back to that donation flow that comes in. Yeah, everything comes in all year. But at the end of a season, they get a lot of stuff for the end of the season. So like when spring comes around, those thrift stores get a ton of winter goods, and really more they can put out, more than they can sell. The larger ones, the more sophisticated ones, will actually store a lot of those goods for a few months. So when they get those sweaters and heavy long sleeve shirts and coats, they'll pack those up, store them in a warehouse, and then bring those out and process them in the wintertime. And that's a way they can keep their stores full. Independent operators really struggle with that because they may not have the space to put all that stuff. Those are some things to look for. So look at that first week. Their freshest stuff is the best stuff. And then those out weeks, look for the specialty things that maybe has a really narrow market, but people are going to be looking for. A couple other little sidebars to all this is how often they change the color rotation. The most common is weekly, where they change the color every week. Some do it every 2 weeks. When I was operating restores, we did a 2-week rotation, partly because of the speed of things coming in, and also because we had a lot of really unique items. Furniture is very stylized, and you've got to give the right person time to come in and find those goods. So how do you use your time well knowing this? One is, like I said, is the freshest stuff is the best stuff. Then look for the specialty items, the more narrow market, perfectly good items, and then know what the discount schedule is and make a decision whether or not it's worth focusing on those discounted goods, because the question always becomes, why is it still here? Always keep in mind, when you're out buying for resale, you're looking for how to maximize the spread between what you paid for an item and what you sell it for. None of the other clutter matters, the discounts, the percents off, that all just fits into, okay, how much am I paying for this and how much can I sell it for? If you stay focused on that, I think you'll be in great shape. I hope this has been useful to you. If you have other questions, please feel free to drop those in the comments. I'll do videos based on those in the future. In the meantime, happy selling and good luck.